Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC, Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host for tonight, KC Onyebuchi. And joining me this week is John Keys.
KC Onyebuchi.
What up? What up?
And nothing much,
man. Before we get too far in, a big get well soon to Ryan. He is out sick today, but the trooper that he is still producing our show for tonight. So get well soon, bud.
Yeah, take care of that T-virus for us, please.
Well, we have a big show in store for you guys today. UFC 235 came to the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, with 2 titles up for grab. Tyron Woodley looked to cement his legacy as the greatest welterweight of all time by facing the rising Kamaru Usman. And Jon Bones Jones faced Anthony Smith in his first defense of his light heavyweight title, still looking to get past the PED scandal that continues to haunt him. Ben Askren also made his UFC debut. But before we get too far down the road, let's get all the results on the... I am so sorry. Damos. What do you think?
Keep going, man. It's raw.
Yeah, so we can cut there. So, damn. All right. So Ben Askren also made his UFC debut. But before we get too far down the road, let's get all the results on the official decision.
The official decision.
All right. We had quite the card to run through. First up, we have Pedro Munoz, who defeats Cody Garbrandt via first round TKO. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, anybody who watched that fight, I mean, Cody Garbrandt, he is such an entertaining fighter. He is the fighter we want. However, his career, he is not the fighter his career needs to be. Okay. At the last few seconds, they went rock'em sock'em, and he got dealt with in the first round.
It's always interesting watching Cody, right? Because he will go to a rock'em sock'em style super quick. Like, he just forgets all technique. And if you watched him, he really goes into these looping motions that are really easy to read. And all it takes is a strike down the middle to take care of Garbrandt. So it seems like his opponents have really been able to take advantage of him. It's his 3rd consecutive loss. And you have to start wondering what's next for Garbrandt. Is he going to have to switch up his style? And is it time for an end to the rock'em sock'em antics?
Yes. That short answer, yes. He's going to have to change his style. He cannot go in there with that old school UFC 12 mentality.
Right.
Okay. He's got to change it up. He's got to develop get to the ground, start doing some technical, do some technical fighting. Don't get me wrong. Great fighter, exciting fighter, but not the fighter your career needs. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what's next for Garbrandt as his team has to now regroup. Next up, we've got Weili Zhang defeating Tecia Torres via unanimous decision. Zhang moves to 19-1. Wow, that is impressive. Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Okay, and she did it with, and I was rooting for Tecia Torres.
Oh yeah, it's hard not to root for Tecia.
Yeah, it hit the brick wall real quick. I mean, it was an entertaining fight, and 19-1. I want to see what this girl can do. I was impressed. She's got a little goofiness about her, but I like it.
She might be the real deal. We'll see.
Yeah.
Then we have a super exciting fight for us. Ben Askren defeating Robbie Lawler via submission, bulldog choke in round 1. So, should Herb Dean have stopped the fight earlier when Robbie Lawler was blasting Askren?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Okay. Really? He was getting mugged. Don't get me wrong. Okay. It was abusive to watch but anybody who was watching their little promos and everything, the UFC embedded. If anybody saw Robbie in there, because it was mentioned that Robbie is a really quiet guy. Okay, that if you didn't know him, he could be in the back of the room just chilling, and you would never know. And guess what? He did exactly that. But when you looked at his eyes, this is a dude that was off his medications. Okay, and he showed it. I mean, he went in there. He had that look like, if a little kid saw like, "Mommy, who is that man?" And I mean, he went in there and he mugged him. I mean, he mugged him for the first couple of minutes there. Okay. But anyway, I'm sorry.
I think stylistically it's a great matchup because you've got an absolute brawler in Robbie Lawler. He's put together some of the greatest fights in UFC history. So he's still game, and he showed that he's still fighting to stay in the mix. But Askren in his UFC debut absolutely could not afford a loss, and he stuck with it and pulled off the victory.
So it makes me wonder, okay, did Dana know exactly what he was doing when he put them two together? Because we know how much love Dana has for Ben Askren. Okay.
Oh yeah, I think Dana wanted to see Askren get a pounding. Like he was going to have to earn his spot there.
Exactly, but the Bulldog choke. Was it an early stoppage? Yes, it was. Okay, yeah. I do believe that, but would it have made it a difference in the long run? No, it wouldn't have, because anybody who has ever seen Ben Askren's Instagram video, they know this man has a vicious grip. Okay, and his choke style cracks watermelons, it cracks pumpkins. Okay, so anybody sitting there saying that he didn't go out, I do believe that Robbie Lawler went out. I do believe, and the moment that Herb Dean grabbed him to check and see if he was there, he came back. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think he was done for. And even if he wasn't, give him about 5-6 more seconds, because even though
it's gonna be a wrap anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody knows anything about a choke, and you know what, I'm gonna post a video on my Instagram and Twitter tonight. Basically a video of a Gracie breakdown of what happened, and they will tell you that just because your chin is in the arm of the choke, you can still get choked out. Okay.
100%.
Yes, because you're squeezing in your jaw muscles. Yeah. And so, let's go ahead.
Yeah, so do you think they should run it back? Ben says no, and I understand, but what do you think?
Dana says yes with that devilish grin, like, I want to see this again.
Dana just wants to see Askren hurt. That's all that is.
Yes. I honestly, in all fairness, it needs to be ran back. I do believe it needs to be ran back.
All right, well, we'll see what ends up happening. Dana, luckily, it sounds like more and more is willing to listen to what the fight fans want to see. And so who knows, enough protest, and we just might see that run back. So next up, we've got my man, the Nigerian Kamaru Usman, defeating Tyron Woodley via unanimous decision to become the new champion. What's next for Tyron Woodley?
Wow. I will say that what's next for Tyron Woodley? We know that Dana has done. Dana does not like Tyron. Okay, for whatever reason, I don't care what he says. It's his action that tells us he does not like Tyron. Okay, and he was going to do everything he can to get that belt away from Tyron. Okay, when he saw Kamaru, he saw his chance, and he put him up against him. And what we saw that night was the defeat of a man who literally had been broken. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. If you walk in the ring, you're saying you're 100%. So there are no excuses for
not if you're Kamaru Usman. If you walk in the ring, you're saying you're at least 30%.
Exactly. Okay. So
we can honestly say that the Woodley that we saw against Kamaru was not the Woodley that we're used to. It's not a Woodley who is aggressively able to get takedowns, who is pressing forward at all times and pushing the pace. We saw a Woodley that was getting pushed back up against the fence and not really able to impose his will on an opponent. This didn't look anything like the Woodley we saw against Till or Wonder Boy. So the question might be, was Woodley protecting an injury, or why is it that we didn't see it? It's hard to believe that he's already on the decline so quickly. It's just an off night that a champion has.
Okay, so I've heard that a lot, that people say this is not the Woodley we know. I will counterpoint that and say that is the Woodley we know, because the Woodley we know, think about his fighting style. He's a counter attacker. He looks for that perfect moment to unleash. Okay, what if Kamaru Usman came in there that night with a perfect game that did not give Woodley that opening that he needed to unleash like he usually does? Okay. It was Tyron. It was Tyron, but Tyron was looking for perfection. That's why you very rarely see him just go aggressive and just go in there and from the get go and just start swinging and waylaying. You don't see that out of Tyron.
I think it's part of the downside of fighting as the champion is you kind of go into the GSP style where it's like you do just enough to win rather than pressing the pace. And that's the exact problem that you see with counter strikers like a Silva, where it's like you could easily win the fight, but you have to figure out an offense, and we just didn't see that from Tyron Woodley.
We did not, and will he get a rematch? I don't think so.
It's hard to believe that a rematch or even another title shot is clearly in view. One, because Dana White he's made it clear that he doesn't like Tyron Woodley.
Exactly.
In press conferences where Tyron Woodley is sitting quietly to the side, Dana finds a way to bring up Tyron Woodley and absolutely debase him. It's crazy.
It is.
So Coach Den Thomas, longtime coach for Tyron Woodley, believes that the UFC is going to make Woodley really work for another title shot. And it's not very likely to happen anytime soon. So, of course, Woodley being a former champion should be given a really quick title defense. Another shot at the title. But politics abound in the UFC. So,
let's think about this. Think about this, okay? When GSP lost to Matt Serra, okay, GSP did not get an immediate rematch. He had to prove himself to get back to Matt Serra, and he came back to Matt Serra, a destroyer of men. Okay, so we might see this,
So who would Woodley have to go through to prove himself? One person I'd love to see is Woodley versus who's the guy we all hate?
Oh, Covington?
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. But gosh, I would love to see Woodley be the one to put a hurting on him. I think Covington has a legitimate case to make for being next up for a title shot.
He also has a legitimate case to get his ass whooped. He is. Hey, don't get me wrong. And we're going to talk about Kobe Covington much later, but it's going to. I'll say it like this: what needs to happen is Kamaru needs to fight Covington. The loser fights Woodley. Okay, Covington said he doesn't get his top matches. There you go. You're gonna get two of them. Okay, and I would because we know what Usman's gonna do to him. Okay, and then that'll set up that Woodley gets a match, and he gets a tune-up match because trust me, Woodley got something for him. Okay, he got a present for him too, and then they set it up again. But I don't expect Woodley to come back for an immediate rematch. Dana's already said that it's going to be Usman and Covington first.
Yep.
Okay, before anything. So that's fine. I get that. Let this be a time for Woodley to
Woodley's
refocus himself.
Definitely got his mind on other things. So he loses the match and immediately the next day drops a new single. Like, bro, where's your head at? Why are you focused on music right now? Like, this is not a good look for you.
Because he's focused on other avenues, and unfortunately, all too often, athletes think that the next avenue for them is music. And I'm like,
yeah,
not everybody can spit bars. Not everybody can sing. Okay, you know.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes down to Woodley never really got the respect he deserved in the UFC, and he's looking elsewhere. One person who was starting to get his due and honestly earned more respect in his loss was Anthony Smith, who lost via unanimous decision to Jon Jones. What did you think of this fight?
It was bittersweet. Okay. I went in there, and once again, this is another example of a man being broken in the ring. Okay, that he sat there and talked about how most people are beaten by Jon Jones before they even stepped in the ring. I think he got into the ring and he started fighting Jon Jones. Then he realized, oh man, this guy's really as good as as they talk about, and you can see him being broken. However, he took 2 illegal hits, in my opinion, and he never sat there and complained.
I think from the start, you've got to give Anthony Smith much credit. So when it came to the easy attacks that you could have against Jon Jones when it comes to his personal life and how he's, according to Dana White, the biggest screw up in UFC history. Like, these are easy things to go after. And Anthony Smith stayed above board and continued to talk about Jon Jones' fighting style and even debased himself and said, look, the reason I can't go after Jon Bones Jones is because I've made the exact same mistakes in my life in his drunk driving experiences and trouble with the law. So he stayed above that and was very respectful. But what I didn't love about it is that the respect extended a little too far into the ring. So Joe Rogan had it, much like you said, is that he was defeated early on and just started to realize that he was fighting the world's greatest UFC fighter.
Asterisks.
Yeah, well, asterisks aside, Jon Jones is arguably the greatest. What I saw was a different thing. Maybe it's because I'm very much team Anthony Smith as a guy who's trained in the same gym. I'm just dropping names, as you can tell.
There's our Factory X drop, people. There it is. Yeah.
Let me pick that up real quick. No, you look at Anthony Smith, and what I saw in there was an Anthony Smith who was waiting for his shot. I think he knew that Jon Jones was susceptible to that overhand right, and he was waiting so long in the first and second round to try to make that land, and he just forgot the rest of his offense. Jon Jones did an amazing job, as he always does, with the leg kicks that constantly kept Anthony Smith running back, putting his back up against the cage, trying to grab a breath. Every time that Anthony Smith tried to switch to a southpaw stance, Jon Jones corrected that and was like, no, we're staying orthodox for this. And Jones was able to impose his will, not really out of because Anthony Smith was respecting Jon Jones too much. I think it was just a lot of pressure, and he wanted that big win, and he focused too much on the overhand right and forgot the rest of his game. He curled up in some very unorthodox ways on the cage that I don't think anyone really understood what was happening. But to some degree, you have to wonder if he was thinking in his mind by the third round, like, it's a win that I just take this to the distance, right? That's all I saw out of Anthony, because I wouldn't say that he quit, but it seemed as if he was frustrated that he had no offense.
Right. And I agree with that. I'll say it and I'll say it again. Jon Jones had the potential to be the absolute greatest mixed martial artist in the game.
Yep.
But his self-confidence broke him. And now he will forever be questioned about his ability due to a stupid mistake, due to a stupid action. Okay. And so with that said, he had excellent ring IQ in there. He did fantastic job shutting Anthony down on just about everything he tried to do. And like I said, he had it's just his physical abilities that he had, but it's the ability to break a man. Far as a unique ability that I've only seen happen twice, and that was with Matt Hughes, and that was with GSP.
I will
Okay,
say McGregor has that ability too, but he just does it. It's a stark contrast. So McGregor breaks you before you're in the ring because he's out-talked you. You watched all the film and you start to wonder, wow, this guy might be unbeatable. Whereas Jon Jones beats you because his legacy is so strong. And then the moment you get in the octagon with him, you start to realize this man is going to outstrike me at will. And so it's Jon Jones breaks you down in the octagon, whereas some of the other fighters like McGregor is able to break you before you even enter the octagon. So it's an interesting contrast to see how some of these great fighters are taking out their opponents before the fight starts.
Yeah. And like once again, we don't. It's a unique ability. It's a unique skill, and not many people have it. And if you're blessed to have it, you don't need to do much else.
So there's a couple things that we can't close that card off with without mentioning. One is the illegal strike. Ooh. What do you think about Anthony Smith electing not to take the DQ to become the champion with so much on the line and rather choosing to let Jon Jones continue fighting?
That's when you're honorable to a fault. Okay. Would I have done the same thing he did? I don't think I would. I think I would have been like, dude, my eye is hanging out right now. Okay. I'm looking down and across the way at the same time. I can't fight no more. Give me that belt. and then that way he would have to come fight me. That would be a psychological weapon. Beyond that would be a psychological atom bomb, honestly. If you were to take his belt away, Jon Jones would have been unhinged. But
who would have respected Anthony Smith at that moment?
That's the thing. That's a double-edged sword. That is a double-edged sword.
Take the belt. Nothing wrong with taking that DQ. But I think what happens is you become worse than Cormier, in which everyone called Cormier the paper champ. In this case, Anthony Smith was getting worked. And if you win a championship because a guy knees you in the head, that's like you're not even paper champ at that point. Like, much respect to him. I don't even know if he had time to process it, if we're honest. Like, the man just got kneed in the head. And then you expect him to make a multi-million-dollar decision in seconds. That's
a bit much. Yeah, that's a bit much. Yeah. So, so hats off to Anthony Smith. He did the honorable thing. Okay. And understand, honorable, people say the honorable thing and the right thing are one and the same. No, it's not. Okay.
Give me that money. The bag at all costs.
Hey. Like I said, me in the ring, totally different situation. And let's think about that. Had Jon Jones had the belt when he did a 12-6 elbow to Matt Hamill, Matt Hamill would have been the champion.
Yep.
He would have been the champion.
So what's next, or who's next for Jon Jones?
Oh, they announced it. They want Mahete. They want Thiago Santos against him. I'm like, that's going to be an easy night for Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Because all the power is in the left and the right, okay? And that's all. If that's all you got, Jon Jones is going to beat you. Well, let's not say Jon Jones. Greg Jackson will beat you on that
or
one.
the picograms will beat you.
Yes, which he did get flared. He got flared up twice in two different organizations that flared him up for 40 picograms.
Look, I don't understand the science of pulling blood. I'd imagine that if you're sampling the entire body, like, of course, you're probably going to get different numbers. All I'm going to say is the UFC allowed him to fight, so I trust the UFC's decision, and that is a rare thing. Only because it's pointless to argue. It's one of these that the UFC made its choice, and it said that in this particular instance, Jon Jones is too valuable for us to have a true zero-tolerance policy. So I don't think that as long as it doesn't rise above whatever imaginary level that the UFC has created, I think this is going to continue to play Jon Jones, and we're not going to have an answer to it.
So let me put this in here, which is why I have the asterisk by his name with everything you just said.
Yep.
But with all this said, Jon Jones has legitimately made the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Because if we go by the host, Mr. Ryan Smith's, requirements to be a Hall of Famer,
He can say whatever you want right now because he cannot refute it.
I know. And I can't even call it bogus right now, okay? Because I'm gonna roll with it. You know why Jon Jones can make it now? Because he is a cautionary tale now. He is a cautionary tale for anybody who juices, okay? That you will be forever marred, not by just the fans, but the people that you work with, your coworkers, your competitors. They will forever mar you, thinking that you are a cheat. He is the Pete Rose of MMA without even betting.
That's sad, because if you've ever been to Vegas, you've probably seen a Pete Rose signing table.
Oh, I'm pretty. I have. So yeah.
Dude was trying so hard. Well, that was a great card. We are going to go ahead and wrap that and jump into our next segment where we talk about what's happening in the news in Finding the Angles.
Finding the Angles.
This is Finding the Angles, where we talk about what's happening all across the combat sports world. One of the first topics that we want to jump right into, speaking of jumping, is Johnny Walker injures himself with a round 1 stoppage celebration. What is up with this dude?
You gotta love Johnny Walker, dude. Okay. And this is before I talk about the drink. We're talking about the fighter. Okay. So I watched it when it happened, and I was like, what is he doing? And then when he stopped moving his, oh man, I was like, come on, man, really? But we don't know. They say it's a normal thing. It happens all the time. So I haven't heard an update. I haven't heard an update since. So I'm gonna assume that everything's copacetic. Okay. He wants
he's out. The reports I saw on ESPN earlier today is he will be out for a couple of weeks. It's nothing major, but he is going to have to rest. I think it was a shoulder injury. So he is officially the Bill Gramatica of
Look it up, people. Look it up. Oh my God.
He's an interesting fighter, but as much as I'm all about, hey, like, enjoy the moment, like, and I'm for celebration, you got to be a little more responsible. His worm is just atrocious, and his celebrations are just a bit much. Like, it's not even true celebration. It's showboating, and that's why it's harder for me to enjoy it, because it doesn't come across as genuine. All
right, so I'm gonna disagree with you there, Casey, on this rare occasion that I will disagree with you on. Come on. I know, man. You know, I'll give you your $5 later. Don't worry. They said the same thing about Jon Jones when he used to do the handstand, when he used to walk into the ring. Okay, that he's showboating. Joe Rogan said it. Oh, this guy's showboating before the fight even. He's celebrating before the fight even starts. He should be better than that. Let Johnny Walker be. Okay, that man's destroying people. Okay, he made a guy eat his knee. He put 2 pieces of bread and some cheese and fed it to somebody. And is he still alive? Is the dude? Did we check on the dude's vitals after the ring? Okay, because his face went in. Okay, and it was bad. All right, let Johnny Walker do his worm. Let him do his worm responsibly. Okay.
Hey, he's young, so I'll let him be.
Yeah.
Old age will eventually catch up to him.
Oh yeah. He'll be reaching for his cane or his walker and just fall out of place, and he'll be like, "Oh, I remember I used to do the worm," and that's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Well, speaking of catching up to people, Colby Covington stalks Dana White and finds him gambling and maybe more. Tell us about that story.
Oh, maybe so. Kobe is the winner of the week. Okay, a fight week. I hate the man. Do not get this twisted, people of the world who listens to this broadcast. I hate Colby Covington. Okay, for many reasons, but he won this week. Okay, for the simple fact that he trolled on a level that I have not seen since Triumph, the insult dog. Okay, he shows up at Kamaru Usman's workout with a megaphone, talking much trash to him. Okay, Then they kick him out. So he goes walking around and everything like that. And he hunts Dana down. Dana's sitting there, and I can't say the words he said. It was more like, holy bleep. Okay. And there was an Asian female that was sitting right next to him. And, Kobe was like, well, hey, I just want to know why is it that, I'm not fighting on this card and everything like this, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing out of Dana's mouth was stop recording. And conveniently, the little Asian woman that was right there she was fairly attractive, but she got up and she made a stage left, and we never saw her again since. So
interesting outcome there, because this is one where arguably people would have said, well, Kobe, why didn't you just keep that video to yourself and use this as ammunition? Well, for one, that's illegal. Blackmail is not legal, but he does gain the upper hand in being able, like, this would have been a great platform for Dana White to have said those things on camera. Like, look, if you want a title shot, you can't turn down opportunities, which is a very fair statement. And Colby knows that this was clearly just him acting out. But in this one case, because he caught Dana White in a possibly compromising situation, or just a situation that Dana White didn't want to be a part of, then Colby gets to win in that situation. And so it's iffy. It's hard to like Colby, but in this one case, his bombastic attitude has absolutely paid off.
Yeah, I would give him a bonus just for that, for Troll of the Night. They should have a Troll of the Night bonus there, and he wins. Okay.
So do you think that this Dana White's going to find a way to pay him back for this? Because Dana comes across as a vindictive individual.
Oh yeah, he's going to have it. Look, what did I say? He's going to fight. He made a point that he says Kamaru Usman versus Covington next, and I guarantee once Usman suplexes him into the mat and leaves his feet dangling, when they scoop him out, he's going to say, "Oh, by the way, we got your next fight lined up. It's with Woodley." And then he's going to walk off on him. And then Woodley's going to have a piece of him. And then who else has he pissed off? Verdum. He'll say, hey, guess what? You're going up to heavyweight. Or Verdum's coming down to welterweight. He's coming for you, buddy. And he's going to put him on a world tour. Okay? I guarantee he's going to fight those two first. The next two matches for Covington is going to be Usman and then Woodley. And then it's going to be somebody from Brazil. I promise you.
What's interesting is there's a lot of gamesmanship going on here. So Colby has Kamaru next. He's already getting into scuffles with Kamaru and his team. But if we really think about this, Colby's known for a while that his next shot was going to have to be against Kamaru. Like, no matter how you stack things up, he was going to have to fight Kamaru sooner than later. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine that Colby's been game planning for Kamaru for quite a while. And so does he come in with a bit of an advantage in that he's had a lot more time off and time to focus on Kamaru?
No. If anything, he's going to suffer the McGregor incident where he's going to talk to a guy. See, a lot of people don't seem to understand. He's, something that I've learned from hanging around a bunch of brothers from Kenya and Nigeria. These guys don't play. They don't play
say
at
in Nigeria. Naija, they know they can't last.
Sorry, I wasn't gonna go that far because people be like, "What is he talking about?" And no. So these guys do not play around. If you mess with them, they will find you. Okay, they will find you in the most precarious places. Okay, it doesn't matter. McDonald's, the bathroom, in a parking lot. At Little Caesars picking up the little hot and readies, they will find you, okay, and they will do bad things to you, all right. And I think Covington is going in there thinking he can play these mind games, thinking he's going to get into the mind of Kamaru Usman. No, brother, you better stop while you're here. If somebody knows Covington is listening to this podcast, tell him to chill, okay? They will find him in the gym, and they will corner him, and they will do to him what Khabib and his team did to Artem Lobov, okay? And it will not be that pretty, all right?
So we know that on the show that we are generally anti-Colby Covington to a point. I think Ryan might have a little bit of love for Colby.
I think he has a lot of love for him.
Even though that Colby gets a little cringy, like the fact that he's willing to step up, I think Ryan respects that. So if any of our listeners have some positive love that they want to send to Colby, please hit us up on our Facebook or Instagram at Combat Sports Talk. Let's hear from some Colby Covington lovers. And why do you think he's got a shot against Kamaru Usman?
I think Ryan loves Colby more than the Eagles. I think that's true.
Well, the plus side is that he actually doesn't like the Eagles anymore. He just bought his whole family Dak Prescott jerseys. So
did he? Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm so proud of him. You know, the next step is going to be some press boxes at AT&T. I'm telling you. You know,
all right. So
I think he's saving up for that. I think he is.
So speaking of things that will never happen, GSP will never fight again. Apparently, we've got GSP retiring. What are your thoughts there?
Sadness. You know what? He's done it all. Okay, that's the man. You could say he's been there, done it, and he's got shirts to prove it. Okay, and belts with them. All right. He went out on top. I'm proud of him. He did something that very few fighters would ever do.
Yeah, he went out on top, and he got to retire a second time the way he wanted to retire the first time, which was a lot less emotion in it and just focused on what he really wanted to do next rather than, as he said, feeling bullied by the UFC with the whole drug testing thing. And now he gets to do it on his own terms. And speaking of drug testing, he is now officially leaving the USADA testing pool, which is just I think that the drug test thing continued to mess with his head. It was something he's always argued with the UFC on, and I think he had some very valid points because as USADA started to enforce their rules more and more, you saw a lot of fighters changing. Like there is a lot of ripped guys who started looking like full on dad bod.
Yeah, Vitor Belfort being the first one sticks out for me. What's that?
So it's almost as if GSP changed the UFC, not just in the octagon, but his desire for more testing and his push to make these athletes accountable has really changed the UFC. So that man is truly got a long-standing legacy within the UFC.
Yes. He's definitely one of those rare and special individuals that will not be reproduced at any time soon.
Much love to you, Rush. You've got one retirement here that you wanted to mention that is not on the run sheet. What was that?
Stefan Struve, the skyscraper, the tallest man on the roster. Okay, well, was on the roster. He retired his last win. And you know, much love to the man. He was willing to put it all on the line for us, for our entertainment. So, with that said, he said that he had other opportunities ahead of him. I wish him much luck, much respect for his fights. Yeah. So I mean, I had to mention that.
Goes out with a win, and he's had a long career. So may not have been the most exciting fighter that we've ever seen, but truly an honorable man. So good luck in your future endeavors.
Indeed.
All right, so the final big story around the UFC is Diego Sanchez is back to the Diego way, the weirdo way.
I wouldn't call it the weirdo way. It's nightmare. Okay, we need the nightmare. All right, he's always needed the nightmare. You know, he tried to go around call himself the Dream. Oh, this is the fight game. We don't need positivity. We need violence. Okay. I need an angry man. I need a man that's sitting there eating red meat every day, you know, wrestling with bulls and bears and such, and being angry when he wakes up and, you know, angry in everything he does. And that's what the nightmare brings is anger. And he brings intensity. And I mean, he has the absolute best stare down of the UFC. Bar none.
Cannot beat that. Well, we will see what's next for this guy. He's feeling good about himself and his future. So who knows who we could have next?
Oh, I know who. Okay, he might as well. I need Sanchez and Ferguson to be in the same room when they announce that they're fighting each other. Okay, it doesn't even have to be real. Okay, it doesn't even have to be real. I just want them to hear it, so we can see the intensity those two would have against each other. Okay, can you just imagine that? It'll just be like two raging dogs, and nobody is going to hold them back because Diego Sanchez is a prototype for Tony Ferguson, in my opinion. Okay, Tony Ferguson just has a better tool set.
Hot sports opinion there.
Oh yes. Okay, I'll say it. All right, and guess what? Ryan's not going to dispute it. All right. So all kidding aside, though, I do believe Diego needs this attitude. All right, he's getting up there in years.
Yeah.
If he's gonna play in this pool, he's got to have that attitude to survive.
For sure. All right. Well, that puts a wrap on Finding the Angles, and let's look forward to the fights that are to come in the fight card.
Okay, so we have UFC on ESPN Plus in Wichita, right up the street from us. Lewis versus Dos Santos at the Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas.
We've got Ryan's favorite fighter of all time with the best walkout music ever, Neil Dariush versus Drew Dober.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I want to rock with you all night.
My goodness.
Then we've got Blagoy Ivanov versus Ben Rothwell. Tim Means versus Nico Price. And then Eliezer Zaleski versus Curtis Millender. And finally, Junior Dos Santos versus Derek the Beast Lewis. So, what's your flash fight pick there?
As much as I like Derek Lewis, is always an entertaining guy. Junior Dos Santos just got too many tools for him. I'm sorry. I see him punching him down, and I don't say submission, but Derek doesn't want to go to the ground with this guy. Honestly, he wants no parts of that.
Yeah, that's true. I think I'm actually going to counter this and say that Derek Lewis, he's still got youth on his side and the power in his hands, and that might cause a bit of trouble for Junior Dos Santos. So we'll see what happens. All right. Anything else that we have left on the card? Because that will be a very interesting card. Anything else that we've missed on this show?
We've talked about did we talk about the after stories between Usman and Covington? Covington, as soon as Usman came down from the ring, he was ready to approach Covington because apparently he was sitting right there on the side talking much smack towards Usman and almost got into a fight twice with Woodley's mother.
What?
Yes. And then the next morning, okay, at the Palms Breakfast Buffet, okay, which I've been there. It's a pretty good buffet, people. Go check it out. Oh, but Covington is in the line, and Usman and Ali, his manager, were right there. And anybody knows Usman's manager, the dude is a fighter, okay? The dude is a fighter, and he's couple McNuggets short of a Happy Meal. Let's just say it like that. So they started going at it with Covington, and security had to be pulled in on that. So, like I said, they'll find you if Usman wants you, he will find you. He knows where you train, Covington. Do not mess with this dude. Let's see here. Any other after stories that I've got to
believe that the UFC is starting to take notice of this, and they have to do a better job of separating these fighters. This is like it becomes almost too WWE style, where you've got fighters engaging in fights right after a fight, and that shouldn't be normal.
I agree, but when you have a person like Chaos, doing the stuff that he's doing, if you stop him, he's gonna scream, "You're infringing on my freedom of speech." He'll do that, and at that point, Dana, this is doing nothing but making more money for Dana. Okay, in the long run, and unfortunately, he is in the dark days where it's looking at the coffers rather than the conscious. So,
True.
it's hopefully after this is done, they'll do something better. Zabit Magomedov versus Trent. Hey, thank you. I got it. Versus Jeremy Stevens. Great fight. Okay, it was a great fight. It was a battle.
The leg kicks were huge,
dude. It was really a battle of the beards, man. They were like rubbing beards all week, dude. I mean, every time they saw each other, they had to be separated because it was just like, my beard's better than yours. No, my beard
gang.
Yeah, it's aggressive beard game. I was kind of like frightened to grow a beard because hey, Woodley coming there with that manly Leonidas style beard going on, man, and he would win that. But yeah, it was a good fight. Much respect. I mean, it just wasn't Stevens' night. But that's all I got. I think that's all the things off the top of my head that I have.
All right. So on that note, we are going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And as always, follow us on social media. On Twitter, you can follow Ryan. I am KC. So it's at CST_KC. I legitimately never check Twitter, so you'd be wasting your time. John, what's your Twitter?
My Twitter is at Keys to Victory, and that's Keys with the ES. And as being an old man on the show, I am still learning technology. So bear with me, people. Okay, I'm gonna do what I can. Make sure that the Gracie breakdown of Askren versus. Askren versus Lawler is up there for everybody to see. So because they break it down really well for you, and you can understand exactly what they're going through. All right, and trust me, these are two Gracie heirs here, so they pretty much know what they're talking about.
Love it. So on Instagram, I am at Push Pull Pray, and you are
at Keys to Victory again.
Perfect. So check us out on our website, www.combatsportstalk.com. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you get your podcast from. We now have merchandise on Amazon. Search for Combat Sports Talk. And we've added a new section on the website for live events. You absolutely don't want to miss that. You usually have a great time with the champ, George Stallworth. So that will do it for us tonight. Our theme music is composed by Scott McCurry at scottdeancountry.com. And I, Casey Onyebuchi, produced our lead-ins. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Combat Sports Talk. For John Keys, I'm Casey Onyebuchi. Good night.
Boom. Headshot. I bet.
So I haven't heard from Ryan in a while.
I bet he fell asleep on us.
I was wondering that.
Because we talked a lot. We talked a lot of smack. He should have been. He should have came through at some point. Okay.
I'm showing him his idol on our run sheet.
He done fell asleep. Hey Ryan.
Because even when we did the finding what was the last segment where we didn't have music? I was like,
yeah, the fight card. Yeah. I was like, we need to keep going. He done fell asleep on us. He said he was highly medicated. He did say that. So I wonder if he's the type to nod back and his mouth is wide open, and or is he a slumper? I think he looks like a slumper. I think he's a slumper. He's a big dude. Right? Only skinny dudes lean back and have their mouth wide open. I can't believe he did this to us. This is sadness. This is true sadness. Like, dude, what
honestly, it's a lot harder than I thought to run this show.
It is. It is. You know,
like, reading all that in real time, I'm like, I don't even remember half of this. He's not answering his phone either.
Hope he didn't die.
Man. Man.
He had a heart attack in the hot box, man. Oh, damn.
I'm nervous. Like, should I call Christina?
Yeah, call Christina.
Hi there, this is Ryan Smith. I'm sorry I can't take your call. If you leave your name, your number,
and this is not good.
Yeah, let's call Christina. Let's call the wifey in this.
Shit, I'm getting nervous.
Yeah.
Oh. He's probably lumped. He's all right.
I you know what? Confirmation is the spice of life. You know. And plus, we need a good laugh to end the night. So that's. Oh man, Ryan. Ryan, you did not put down. Dude, is he that sound asleeper, dude? Is he really that sound asleeper?
Dang it. I can't find her phone number. I know I had it at one point. I looked through my other contacts.
Let me see if I got Ryan's number here.
You know what?
He probably put his phone on mute. You know that, right?
That's right. Uh-oh.
Dude. Not cool. Not cool at all. Not cool. Where's my phone? So what happens when you have a highly medicated host, man? Let me see here.
This mother sucker blocked me on Facebook.
What? No, he didn't.
I can click on some random Ryan Smith who lives in Burleson, but I can't click on the Ryan Smith I know.
Hold on. Let's see here. Ryan Smith. There he is. Let me see if I can find his wife. Wait. I don't think he's got his wife tagged in with him. Ay. Christina. I got her. I can message her.
Yeah, that'd definitely be worth it. Wait, is that Ryan?
Who? Where? Is he moving? Cause I'm typing right now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was you breathing. I was like, oh man.
Oh yeah, it's probably me breathing.
Oh.
My bad. Can you do me a favor? Can you do us a favor? All right. I told her if she wants to take pics of it, she's more than welcome to. We'd appreciate it. I don't know if she's the joking type, but, hey, you never know a person until they actually got a camera,
True.
Oh, man. Ryan, your butt better be, man. I'm too old for this.
Why am I suddenly legitimately nervous about this?
Because we read too much Facebook where people are like, yes, I just I have microwaved a candy stick in my cocoa and then I took it out and it exploded in my face and now I'm blind. Okay, that's the reason why. All right. We see things
a story like that is the exact reason I'm afraid to use butane in my kitchen. I got all these little torches, and I'm like, nope, not today, Satan. This is not how I'm dying.
Oh, man, come on, dude. Let's see, has she read it yet? Oh, it would be hilarious if he's slumped over and it's got Slav going on and everything. And she has not read either one of my texts yet. So this is, what do we do? What do we do?
Who
are you calling?
Trying to call Ryan from Facebook. I didn't know that was an option.
Hey.
How would I get to his esposa?
Look up Christina. Oh. Conscious mind will do.
This is disturbing.
I know. Yeah, so we're screwed at this point. So what do we do?
Because it's very if there's any way to reach these folk.
Yeah. Damn. Give me a second here. Ryan takes too many photos of himself on Facebook. I thought I was a ham. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's a weak.
What?
I knew it.
What happened? Dude, were you abducted? We knew it. We knew it. Oh.
I was concerned you died.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. You gotta work out. You can't die on us.
Well, for your defense, we knew that you were highly medicated, so
Yeah. We also discovered that we need your wife's phone number because Yeah, we need your wife's phone number. We had no way of reaching.
No, you're good. You're good. Look, sir. Oh yeah, we finished the show with style and in time, way in time. I think we were like what 45 minutes. I think 45, 50 minutes.
45.
Yeah.